Hi, my name is Kush Monga. I am here with a settlement agent, Christy Dye from Platinum Settlement. Next topic is the FIRB, which is the Foreign Investment Revenue Board.
Yep.
Am I saying it right? Yeah. Okay. What is FIRB?
So FIRB is approval that foreign buyers need to obtain in order to buy property here in Western Australia. Okay. So if you're a foreign buyer but you're buying with an Australian, like you have an Australian spouse, then you don't have to apply for FIRB as long as you're buying the property as joint tenants. It can't be tenants in common, it has to be joint tenants. And it has to be a spouse, it can't be a friend or an uncle, auntie. It has to be your spouse.
And what about if you're buying it with your children? No. So it has to be a spouse.
Yeah, it has to be a spouse. And yeah, it's just the review board giving you approval to purchase property because there's requirements of the sorts of properties that you can buy. So they're basically wanting foreign buyers to, help the market and the property market and stuff instead of having all the properties and not renting them out and stuff like that. So that's mainly what it's for.
Okay. I have few clients where their children are studying in WA and they have bought houses for them as a FIRB buyers. They can rent to their children.
Yeah, I think they can just rent it to their children. There's no difference. So when you're applying for the FIRB, you would put in a submission of what your intentions are, and that's when they give you approval. And then on that FIRB approval, it will list any conditions. But I think as long as you're renting it out, regardless of who you're renting it to, it shouldn't matter.
Is there a fee intact with the FIRB approval?
Yes, there is. So currently, up to $1 million, you're looking at about $14,700. And above that, you're looking at about $29,500 up to for the $2 million price range.
Wow. I remember the days when it was 5,000, then it went to 10,000. I did not know it's gone up so much.
Yeah, that was just recent that has gone up. So they're making it more and more difficult these days for foreign people to buy property unless it's under certain circumstances, and then pay nearly $15,000 and you potentially don't get it back. So you're going to make sure you know what the requirements are first.
So there are some new rules, new changes that has been done for the FIRB investors. I've had a couple of messages from my clients in Malaysia saying there's been some changes in rules. What are the changes?
Yes, so currently the government has actually put a ban on foreign buyers. Yeah, so that was as of basically the 1st of April. And it's a 2-year ban that foreign buyers aren't allowed to buy established properties. So you can't buy a property to live in, investment, no matter whatever it is, you can't buy established. You can still buy vacant land and build on it. Or like we said before, if you're buying a brand new property from a developer that's never been lived in, you can do those. But there are requirements. Obviously, you can't buy it to live in yourself. It has to be for investment. But they're the only sort of two circumstances that you can. For most people, there's some other ones, but they don't really apply to. It's more to do with business and stuff. There's other ones, but they're the main ones to consider. That if you're buying, you can't buy established, but you can do the vacant land.
And that's where the ATO clearance certificate that those people, when they're selling the property, will have 15% tax.
That's right.
Cool. Is there a different stamp duty rates for the FIRB investors, or is it the same?
So the stamp duty is the same whether you're Australian citizen, permanent resident, or foreign buyer. But if you are a foreign buyer or you're a non-resident, there's an additional duty. So it's separate to the stamp duty, which applies to everyone. And the foreign buyer duty is 7% of the purchase price.
So if they're buying a $1 million property, first they have a FIRB approval application fee, then they have the stamp duty, and then they have a like a foreign investor fee on the top.
That's right.
Expensive for them to buy a property in Australia.
But like I said, if you're buying property and one person is an Australian citizen and the other one isn't, the foreign buyer duty is only applicable to their portion.
50%.
So you will have some people that only the Australian citizen is buying,
Yeah.
if they can do that. Because
Yeah.
if you're borrowing money, the lender may want both parties on there. It depends on how it's being assessed.
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as if you're both going on the title,
Yeah.
that person that is not the Australian citizen or permanent resident will pay that 7%.
But they don't have to do the FIRB approval?
No. So if you're buying with an Australian citizen, no, you don't have to.
Okay. Have anything else to explain about the FIRB?
No, I think that's generally. So the other thing is FIRB approval can take about 30 days.
Okay.
So it's always when you're buying a property, you should always make a condition on the contract of sale that it's subject to you getting FIRB approval.
Yes.
And always have if you need a due date, minimum 30 days.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes if it's a bit more complex, they may take longer.
Okay.
But yeah, minimum 30 days have it as a condition, because you don't want to not get the approval and then you're stuck with a contract that you can't technically get out of.
Yeah, and if somebody has put an offer, paid a deposit, subject to the FIRB approval, and the FIRB approval doesn't come through, do they get the deposit back?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So because you can't technically go through with the... you're not allowed to.
Yes.
So yes, you will get the deposit back.
Wonderful. That's good. So that's most of it. If anybody have any questions that they want more answers about FIRB, please message me or email me, and I can always come back to Christy, ask those questions for you and get back to you.